Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have another guitar study, this time of the artist Intervals, and we're looking at the song Fable, particularly the lead section that occurs past the 1 minute mark. Remember, timestamps in the description below. The tuning is standard tuning, so no need to lower your strings there. It's a very cool song, very interesting, very melodic, a lot of neat things to be able to learn from that. So let's dive right into it. Let's start off with exercise 1 and 2 together. That is exercise 1 and 2. We're starting off on the G string, sliding into 12, and then we're gonna hammer on pull off from 11. It's going to be a little tricky. Take a look. So you're sliding to 12, and then you're going to pull off one of these, 11, and then hammer on 12, pull off 11, pull off to 9, and then back to 11. It's a little legato. What I normally do is I like to pick the 11th just to give it a little bit more accent. But you can just not do that as well. From there, we pick 12 and 11, and then we go to the D string. And from there we have the little run, which is 2 notes per string, for the exception of the D string where we start. So this is 3 notes, which is 10, 8, 10. Then we go to 8, 12, and then 11, 13, and then 11, 15. And it's all picked here. Look at the downstrokes and upstrokes, as they are important for the exercise to practice your alternate picking with 2 notes per string. From there, we finish on 12, 13, slide to 15, 14 on the G string, and then do another one of these, hammer on pull off, 14, 15, 14, 12. Then we slide to 16, back to 11, and then we have this, which is 10 on the high E and 9 on the G string. What do we learn from that? Well, first of all, the incorporation of short bursts of legato within a lead can spice things up, spice being the variety of life. Also, the little run, pretty neat 2 note per string pattern, not just doing a same old, but you're actually spreading it throughout the fretboard and including some stretches. From there we have also some just short little like sprinkling hammer-ons and pull-offs here and there to make things interesting. Couple of slides, and then a little bit of a chord at the end. And that'll be for exercise 1 and 2 together, right? So we have the little short bursts of legato hammer-on pull-offs to spice things up, add a little seasoning to the solo, and then the 2 note per string pattern, which is really spread throughout with some stretches for your fingers, and also focusing on the wide range, a fairly wide range of the fretboard, instead of just doing the regular pentatonics. Then we move to exercise 3 and 4. And by the way, I made a little boo-boo with the tabs. Writing them down, I made a little mistake, so I had to correct that a little bit. I didn't want to have to rewrite everything again. So I hope you can bear with me on that. Exercise 3 and 4, that's where we go to repeating the pattern, but it's repeated slightly differently with a different end. Okay, so we're starting off again on the slide on the G string. The same pattern, the same legato pattern. $12, $11, and then back to 9 on the G, not 2, 10 and 9, but just the 9 on the G. And then we have a little run, which is 3 notes per string, except for the last string where we're doing 4 notes per string. It goes as follows. We have 9, 10, 12 on the D string, on the G string, 9, 11, 12, and then on the B string, 10, 12, 13, 14, and then you're using all of your fingers right here. And from there you're just practicing, that was my watch, from there you're just practicing alternate picking. It's not as fast as you might think, it's actually very doable. And you're palm muting those first notes. Again, just adding that little flair to it. From there, we're ending on 14. And then we're simply going to move this finger to the high E, D. And then pick 14 again and let them both ring. That's also part of the feel and the mood of the solo, right? Then we go to 14 by sliding into it, which is the 14 above the B string, G string 14. That's 12, 11 on the D. And then we play 11 again. Go 14 on the G, 12 on the B, and then 9, 12, string skipping the B. And then shifting one note. What did we learn from exercise 3 and 4? Well, for example, spicing things up. We're adding more of a 3 note per string, 4 note per string run instead of 2 notes per string, but it's still at the same section of the fretboard, still giving off the same vibe, but adding that small little variety to it. And then we have the ringing of the notes, which gives the solo a very ethereal feel, especially notes that just sound well together when they're ringing together. It's like, you know. And then we're gonna start on the last pattern, or the last part of the lead line. We're basically repeating exercise 1 and 2 there. To finish off, to round off the lead section there, we're ending it just the same way we would on exercise 1 and 2. And then we start to shift across the fretboard going further up. So we're going to shift to 9, 12, skipping the B string, 11, 14, 12, 15, 14, 17, 16, 19, 19, 22, 18, 21. It goes something like this. The important thing to note there, what we can learn from that, is if we're doing these shifting chords around, 2 notes chords, it can be sometimes difficult to lose track of where you are on the fretboard, especially if you're moving so much up and down. What I do is I focus on my pinky, because my pinky is the one that can really, lose track of everything. All of my other fingers are much thicker and stronger, and this one can be a little, flimsy. So that's where mostly things go wrong. So I just simply focus on these notes. I don't even think about the notes here because my finger is like just static there. It knows to stay there with a strong structure to the finger. So when I'm moving, focusing on this finger, 14, 15, 17, 19, 22, 21. I don't even focus on this finger, mostly on this one, because this one is the one that's taking the lead. So that will be rounding off that lead section from the song Fable. I'm sorry for the hiccup for the tabs. It was a little sloppy, But again, I don't want to waste so much paper. Remember that you can always learn things from various different artists and guitarists. You know, sprinkling things throughout, you know, little legatos, hammer-on pull-offs, little tap here and there, little slide, little chord right in between the leads, right in between the barrage of notes, things like that. You know, sometimes it helps to think about these things. I mean, especially if you're someone who can't just come up with something right out of the bat, just boom. You know, a lot of people may not be there yet, and at least for me, I can't say that I'm there yet. And it helps to really think about these concepts that other guitarists might have not thought about when writing their solos. I hope it was helpful, as usual. I hope this little guitar study was helpful, and I hope to see you again on another video. If you have any suggestions of any other guitar players that you'd like me to cover maybe, or deconstruct for a little bit, just let me know in the comments section below. Stay tuned. You can always hit that sub button, and I'll see you all again next time on another video.